We've seen plenty of championship sports droughts end over the past decade, and if our calculations are correct, these 10 franchises will be the next to break through for a title. Buffalo Bills. The Bills hold the dishonor of being the only team to lose 4 straight Super Bowl games back-to-back from 1990 to 93. Buffalo hasn't been back to the big game ever since, but they finally broke through as a powerhouse in the 2020 season. Josh Allen led the Bills to an AFC East Division title, and Buffalo reached the AFC Championship game for the first time in 27 years. The Bills are in a great position to dominate over the long run. It starts with smart management led by GM Brandon Beane and great coaching led by Sean McDermott. They also have franchise stars in Josh Allen, Tre'Davious White, Stephon Diggs, and Deion Dawkins. Any team with that kind of talent across the board is in great position to succeed. The Bills' core is deeper, younger, and simply better than just about any other team in the NFL. It only feels like a matter of time until the Bills get back to the Super Bowl and actually win it this time. Brooklyn Nets. The Nets, who were based in New York at the time, won ABA championships in 74 and 76, but they have yet to hoist the Larry O'Brien Trophy since joining the NBA in the 1976-77 season. The Jason Kidd-led New Jersey Nets reached back-to-back NBA Finals. In 2002, they were swept by Kobe and Shaq's Lakers, and they fell to Tim Duncan's San Antonio Spurs in 6 games the following year. The trio of Jason Kidd, Vince Carter, and Richard Jefferson could never guide this team past the second round, and the Nets entered a period of mediocrity after that. But they quickly turned things around under owner Joseph C. Tsai and GM Sean Marks. The Nets managed to land 2 superstar free agents in Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving during the 2019 free agency, which forever changed the franchise. In 2020-21, the Nets finished second in the East with a 48-24 record, and they were able to acquire James Harden in a mid-season blockbuster trade. They ultimately fell to the Milwaukee Bucks in a heartbreaking 7th game in the second round of the playoff, but it didn't help that both Harden and Irving were hurt for that series. The Nets still have the game's best big 3, and Steve Nash also proved that he's a very capable head coach. Brooklyn should be considered the title favorites over the next couple of years. If they can keep their big 3 intact and stay relatively healthy, a championship title seems almost certain. Cleveland Browns. The Browns are one of 4 teams along with the Houston Texans, Detroit Lions, and Jacksonville Jaguars who have never appeared in a Super Bowl. They spent close to 2 decades wasting high-end draft picks from 99 to 2018. But they've turned things around thanks to the likes of Myles Garrett, Baker Mayfield, Denzel Ward, and Nick Chubb. GM Andrew Berry and head coach Kevin Stefanski have maximized the immense star power on this roster, something the previous regime of John Dorsey and Freddie Kitchens failed to do. The Browns ended an 18-year playoff drought in 2020 by winning 11 games. They stunned the AFC North rival Pittsburgh Steelers in the wildcard round before narrowly falling to the powerhouse Chiefs in the divisional round. Still, it was a successful campaign, and it's only the start. Cleveland is anchored by their O-line and rushing game. Mayfield is a solid quarterback, and this defense is absolutely loaded from top to bottom. There's plenty of competition in the AFC, but we are confidently projecting this team to end their Super Bowl drought at some point over the next decade. Milwaukee Brewers. The Brewers franchise was established in 1969. They were the Seattle Pilots in their inaugural year before relocating to Milwaukee in 1970. Fast forward more than a half a century later, and the Brewers faithful continue to await their first World Series championship. They've only reached the Fall Classic once, back in 1982 when they fell to the St. Louis Cardinals in 7 games. The Brewers did reach the NLCS in both 2011 and 2018, but they fell just short both times. But under manager Craig Counsell and president of baseball operations David Stearns, Milwaukee has grown into one of the NL's elite clubs. It obviously starts with a deep and powerful lineup led by 2018 NL MVP Christian Yelich, Willy Adames, and Avisail Garcia. The rotation and bullpen aren't lacking in arms either. Brandon Woodruff, Freddie Peralta, and Corbin Burns form a dynamic trio in the rotation, while Devin Williams and Josh Hader are 2 of baseball's elite relievers. They also don't have to deal with any powerhouse, up-and-coming clubs in the NL Central at the moment, so the NL Central is Milwaukee's to dominate for the long run. With an elite pitching staff to complement their deep lineup, this team is ready to go on a deep October run. Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks have won a single championship in their history. That took place back in 1958 when the franchise was playing in St. Louis. Since relocating to Atlanta in 1968, the Hawks have been a fairly consistent playoff contender. Following a brief 3-year rebuild, the Hawks put the NBA on notice again during the 2020-21 season. They went 27-11 under Nate McMillan, who replaced Lloyd Pierce as the head coach. It was good enough for the number 5 seed in the East. The Hawks beat the number 4 seed New York Knicks in 5 games, and stunned the top-seeded Philadelphia 76ers in the second round. Atlanta put the powerhouse Milwaukee Bucks to 6 games in the conference finals, but they just couldn't get past Giannis Antetokounmpo and company. This team is just getting started. Trae Young is one of the game's most dynamic players. He has those valuable sidekicks in John Collins, Bogdan Bogdanovic, and DeAndre Hunter too. Teams like the 76ers, Nets, and Bucks are in win-now mode too. But the Hawks have a deep young core that should allow them to compete both now and over the long run. Wait until you see these young stars get better with McMillan as the full-time coach. It's not hard to envision a championship in the very near future. Philadelphia Flyers. The Flyers, who have one of the longest Stanley Cup droughts, last won it all in 1975. Since then, they have managed to lose in 6 straight Stanley Cup Finals appearances, most recently to Chicago in 2010. Since that run to the finals, the Flyers have only won a trio of playoff series, but you get the feeling that they're finally on the cusp of breaking through. This team has a great mix of veterans and young talent. They have a franchise goalie in Carter Hart and a strong core led by veterans. And fortunately for the Flyers, some of their division rivals like the Penguins and Caps are no longer the powerhouses they once were. Philly is deep at just about every position. They had a disappointing campaign last season, but if they can put that behind them quickly, they have the youth and the talent in place to end this miserable drought soon. San Diego Padres. Like the Brewers franchise, the Padres joined the majors in 1969, but have yet to win a World Series. They made it to the Big Dance in 1984 and 1998, losing to the Detroit Tigers and New York Yankees respectively. In 2020, the Padres ended a 14-year playoff drought. It was thanks to the work of young superstar Fernando Tatis and veterans Manny Machado, Eric Hosmer, and Will Myers. Their rotation got deeper in the offseason following the additions of Cy Young winner Blake Snell, All-Star Yu Darvish, and veteran stud Joe Musgrove. Now the Padres boast a world-class rotation to complement their deep lineup. The main question is if the Padres can break through the obstacle that is the Los Angeles Dodgers. Well, the Padres are simply better built to dominate over the long term, and it's not as if they're not good enough to beat this current Dodgers team either. The Padres are getting closer and closer to championship glory. They can smell it. Toronto Maple Leafs. The Leafs have the NHL's longest cup drought. They haven't reached the finals since their 1967 championship season. They also haven't won a playoff series since 2004. The Leafs' constant playoff meltdowns have made them the laughingstock of the league, despite a star-studded core led by Austin Matthews, John Tavares, Mitch Marner, William Nylander, and Morgan Riley. The Maple Leafs just haven't been able to win one single playoff series. But hey, Alexander Ovechkin's Capitals and the key members of the 2019 Blues Stanley Cup team had to experience plenty of gut-wrenching postseason defeats before finally breaking through. Why can't the Leafs do the same? It's easy to forget that Marner, Matthews, and Nylander are only in their mid-20s and have so many more good years ahead of them. The Leafs are certainly set up better than most of their Atlantic Division rivals. Eventually, and we really mean it, these guys have to win a playoff series. And after that, who knows? Our guess is a Stanley Cup championship won't be far behind. New York Mets. While the Yankees have enjoyed non-stop winning and 5 World Series championships between 1996 and 2009, the Mets have continuously been one of baseball's biggest disappointments. For the most part, ever since they won it all back in 1986. They lost to the Yankees in the 2000 World Series and weren't much of a match for the Kansas City Royals in the 2015 Fall Classic. After losing in the 2016 NL Wildcard game, they proceeded to miss the playoffs in each of the next 4 years. But the future already looks so much brighter under new owner Steve Cohen. The Mets have baseball's best pitcher in Jacob deGrom, a steady number 2 in Taijuan Walker, and of course flamethrower Noah Syndergaard, who unfortunately can't stay healthy. The lineup is boasted by slugger Pete Alonso, do-it-all superstar Francisco Lindor, and veterans Jeff McNeil and James McCann. And thanks to the NL East being laughably weak these days, the Mets are in position to absolutely dominate over the long haul. The Mets are slowly but surely building an NL powerhouse here, and Cohen's deep pockets will let them spend more and more to form a championship-caliber roster. You get the feeling that the Mets' title drought is relatively close to ending. Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers won the AFL championship in 1963, but since the AFL-NFL merger, this franchise has only reached the Super Bowl once. That was in 1994 when their Cinderella run ended with a blowout loss to the San Francisco 49ers. The Chargers were the NFL's ultimate underachievers in the Philip Rivers era, and despite a ridiculous amount of star power, they never got to the Super Bowl. Heck, they only got to the conference title game once. But better days are ahead for the Chargers. They have a can't-miss quarterback in Justin Herbert, who had the best rookie QB season ever in 2020, and he's only going to get better. And Herbert isn't the only thing going for these Chargers. They also have a superstar wideout in Keenan Allen and a promising nucleus on defense in Joey Bosa, Asante Samuel Jr., Derwin James, and Kenneth Murray. The Chargers have been underachievers for so long, but this is a new era of football with a brand new head coach in Brandon Staley. Surely he and Herbert will help the franchise finally come through with a Super Bowl title at some point. What other lengthy sports championship droughts do you think will end soon? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet, now's a great time to do that by hitting that subscribe button down there. And if you liked the video, then hit the like button. We'd really appreciate it. And until next time, tune in to TBS every single day for more cool videos. We'll see you.